Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So today I'm going to be talking about The Silencer number 2. Now I've done a review of The Silencer number 1, and you can find a link to that in the description box if you haven't watched it already. So The Silencer is a new hero and is part of DC's new Age of Heroes, along with Damage, who I did a couple of reviews of as well. So the Silencer is pretty interesting. I like the concept, but there's some things about the comic I didn't like as well. So we'll go ahead and start off with the credits. So first of all, the art is by John Romita Jr. The story is written by Dan Abnett. The inks are by Sandra Hope, who is, of course, a legendary inker, definitely one of my favorite inkers, and Dean White did the colors along with Arif Parentino, and the letterer is Tom Napolitano, and the same folks did the cover. So we'll go ahead and check out the cover. The cover's not bad. It's definitely very representative of what the comic is like. Almost too much so, however. You know, in the last issue review I did, where I talked about in Damage number 2, how the cover was good because it wasn't fake news. It showed something that actually happened in the comic. This one almost goes too far, though. It shows something in the comic, but it also shows something very important that happens in the comic. Clearly she's winning this fight, but you can see she's like won the fight. So anyways, we'll go ahead and start off on the first page, and this is picking up right where issue 1 left off. So Talia al Ghul was being attacked by these two guys who are assassins. The big guy here you see in the first panel is named Breacher, and he's shooting at them, and they're within her zone of silence, so that's the Silencer's gimmick, is she can make a field, kind of like a force field, where everything within that area is silent. There's no sound. So that's really good for her, because she was an assassin. So she's trying to protect Talia al Ghul, and she's already taken down the one guy who is called Blood Vessel, and then as she's hiding behind the car, she shoots underneath the car and takes down Breacher by shooting him in the legs. And then there's this panel here which I thought was really strange, because they kind of censor a swear word, which, you know, you can do that in comics, that's not unusual. But two things: it's not that bad of a swear, and this book is rated teen, and throughout the issue there's more profanity that isn't edited, and this is the only instance of that. So I'm not sure why they did that, but whatever, just something I noted. So anyways, she shoots Breacher in the legs and he's down. She gets up and turns off the zone of silence, but then Blood Vessel grabs her from behind because he has this weird ability where, like, it's hard to explain, but basically his blood is sentient, so even though she thought she had killed him, he wasn't. So she turns the zone of silence back on just in time for her head to get smashed into the car. So you're wondering why she wants things to be silent. In this case, it's because this battle is happening in her own neighborhood, so she's trying to keep it from becoming noticed by everyone. So she's fighting Blood Vessel, and he's definitely winning initially. Her suit must give her the ability to absorb damage or something, because a few of these hits would have taken out a normal person. So she throws some knives at him, it doesn't stop him, and then she picks up this lamppost like on the cover and hits him in the head and hits him a few times. It actually goes for a couple pages and she just beats him up, and that's it. That's him. He's out. So then she turns off the zone of silence and she pulls out this thing called a switchboard, and she contacts someone called the operator, and she says she needs a cleanup team. So it's a little like, you know, in Men in Black or something, where they send a team and they get there within 5 minutes. Oh, and she has this cool little gimmick where she just pushes a button and it changes her suit to her normal clothes. So I thought that was kind of cool looking. But anyways, the team shows up, and it's kind of wild because they just pick up the cars that are damaged and smash them up, and they clean up everything, and they've already brought replacement vehicles and stuff. And the guy gets out and talks to her, and she says that she'll pay him the usual way, like with a transfer. And he says, oh, this'll cost you all right, but not cash. He tells her that there's a war going on within the Assassin's Guild in the first issue and carried over into this one. So Talia al Ghul is part of one faction, and there is another faction, and they're fighting. So he gives her a heads up about that and tells her hair is all scorched up. And so she asks for a pair of scissors and cuts her hair. And then she goes back in the house, and to me, this is where the art style got a little wonky, and the comic definitely kind of dipped in quality. For one thing, I'm just not that interested about like their family dynamics and stuff, but I will say they have like a really normal, well-adjusted family. Like, she's married to this dude, and they both work, and they're both professionals, and they have a kid, and you know, it's good and normal, so there's nothing really bad about that. Although the way the faces are drawn and stuff, I thought was a little, if not bad, then definitely not my style. But in any case, it was interesting. There's a few pages of that where nothing really important happens. You see the next morning, and there's a cool bit here I actually thought was kind of clever. And I will say the writing on this is pretty good. I like the writing a lot better than the art. So Dan Abnett is a really good writer. I like some of his other writing too. So in any case, the son is at the table and he's drawing, and he draws a guy in a shopping cart. So one of the bad guys that took on the Silencer in the last issue, she stuffed him into a shopping cart. So the father's like, why'd you draw that? And the boy says, oh, he's just tired, he's sleeping. So he didn't really understand what happened, but getting sloppy there, Silencer, in any case. So the dad goes to his job, and and the dad takes the boy with him, and then she gets out and is going to leave. And there's this little bit here where she activates their security system, and you see all this stuff like pops out of the lawn, and their security cameras pop out, and a thing pops out of the chimney, and there's all this security stuff. And I'm just like, okay, so her husband never noticed over the past, I think they've been married for about 5 years or whatever, she's never noticed all this weird crap. So, sure, she waits until he leaves to activate it, but he's never come home early and tripped up the system, because he has no idea about her past or that she is part of this Assassin's Guild. Anyway, I just kind of thought that was a little weird, and you would think, okay, maybe she just activated it this one time. Well, the code word she uses to activate it is activate baby monitor, so that would, my impression is it's something she always does. So anyways, it's like a laser grid that protects her house. And she leaves, and then she contacts the operator guy again and has the operator set up a meeting. So she's going to meet this guy who's called Remedy. And the plan is she's going to talk to him and explain yet again that she is retired and not a part of this Assassin's Guild anymore. So that was the deal she had with Talia, but things have changed. So they do agree to meet, and this is kind of silly too. They agree to meet at this armory. So this Assassin's Guild has armories just distributed across the United States at various locations, and they look like nondescript buildings, which is possible, but that's quite a large-scale thing. I don't know. Is this sanctioned by the government or what? And it very well could be, though, because when she goes inside, we see all kinds of weapons and things stacked up, and one of the signs does say U.S. government ordnance. So who knows? Yeah, maybe it does make sense. I just kind of wish I had more backstory on all this stuff. So anyways, she talks to the clerk and is told to go into the back where the dude is. So she meets Remedy. She goes in the room and says Remedy, and he says Silencer. So he talks about how it's neutral ground, like they agreed to. And then he asks her where Talia is, and she says she doesn't know, because she really doesn't. And he says, well, that's fine, but you're going to have to work for me and hunt her down. And she says she's retired, and that, and the rules of honor and all that set up in the guild, she'd already fulfilled her duties and was supposed to be free to be a normal person now. And he says the rules have changed. And then there's this cool thing where all the chairs in the background are actually guys in disguise. So he says unstealth, and you see everyone here, all these dudes pull out guns. And he says, accept my offer or die right here. You have 5 seconds to decide. And she says, and you have 3 before I kill you and everyone else in the room. So that's how the issue ends. I will admit the way they ended it on a cliffhanger makes me want to read the next issue and find out what happens, but I don't know. I'd probably give the comic, honestly, like a 3 out of 5 overall, whereas Damage 1 and 2 I'd give like a 5 out of 5. So take it or leave it. The Silencer, you really have to decide for yourself on this one if you want to check it out. I thought the writing was really solid though, and it does have some original ideas and unique characters, so aside from the art not being my favorite, it's a pretty good comic. And it's only $2.99 like all these New Age of Heroes books are, and it had a preview comic for another New Age of Heroes book which is coming out called Brimstone, and I don't know too much about that beforehand, so the 4 or 5 pages of Brimstone that they included was actually pretty neat. Alright, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of The Silencer. And as always, if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching and being a part of DC Fans United.
End of line.